Have you ever wondered what people really mean when they talk about anarchism? Because for most of us, the world instantly creates one picture, which is danger. One could create a picture of chaos, a picture of distraction, or a world on fire. But when I started studying anarchism through the lens of philosophy, spirituality, art, and my own lived experience, I realized something interesting and surprising, which I will share tonight. And anarchism is not about breaking the world, it's about asking what would the world look like if people stopped breaking each other. Yes, now let's go to reframing the word anarchism. When you hear the word anarchy, you probably imagine rulelessness, right? No order, no government, and no structure. But anarchism as a philosophy is not about removing structure, it's about removing domination. It's not no rules, it's no rulers. That distinction changes everything, and no one expressed this more clearly than Emma Goldman. One of the most she's one of the most important anarchist thinkers of the 20th century, wherein she said anarchism is a liberation of the human mind from the dominion of religion. It is the liberation of the human body from the dominion of property and the liberation from the shackles and restraint of government. So for her, there are three levels of domination, which is first the mind, the body, our physical body, and life. Three levels of liberation. Okay. Personally, growing up in the Philippines from my home country, I witnessed these dominions before. Before, okay? I even had a language for them. I saw, I experienced, okay? Farmers, for examples, farmers dominated by landowners, workers dominated by systems, and family dominated by poverty, and even children, me at a young age, dominated by fear. Even our belief that the rich are evil wasn't about money, it was about how power structures twist people. I saw early what Emma Goldman means, also knew that domination distorts human nature. And that seed, that intuition is what anarchism grows from. Mhm. It begins with simple human instinct to say, why do some people get to decide the worth of others? So why do you get to decide my worth? Why does the president get to decide my value in the system, right? Why? Anarchism actually asks, what if humans are naturally capable of cooperation, and it's the main domination that makes us cruel? It challenges the idea that we need rulers, masters, or authority figures who stand above us. Do you want that? Do you believe that we need that? It examines how power, property, government, and relationships become oppressive when they are rooted in hierarchy and authority instead of dignity. Anarchism imagine a world built on mutual aid instead of coercion, shared power instead of authority from above, a relationship without domination, a, having a property without exploitation, right? Responsibility instead of obedience. Those are difference. Reverence instead of fear. It says that humans, when treated with dignity, do not need to be controlled. They only need to be trusted. And I believe in that. I believe in that. Now, you might be asking, why is this about category of art? Why do we study anarchism in art? You might wonder, right? Why it appears in classes in art, literature, film studies, even creative theory. Because art has always been the space where humans imagine worlds that does not yet exist. Art is the first place where we test our own freedom. Art is where hierarchy collapses and the human soul expresses itself without permission. Okay, anarchism belongs in art because art is anti-domination, anti-silencing, anti-authoritarian, pro-imagination, pro-truth, pro-liberation. Liberation. Think about this. In every artistic revolution, from surrealism to pop culture, they challenges authority and power structures. Art is the rehearsal space for human freedom, and anarchism is the ideology that protects freedom. Yes, it protects our freedom. Now, I want to add a philosophy, Asian philosophy, which is Lao Tzu, where he said the best leader is the one people barely notice, the one who does not impose, the one who steps back. Wherein he said, when the work is done, the people say, we did it ourselves. Right? That is anarchism. Not loud, not violent, not chaotic, but natural, subtle, simply human. Even Jesus flipping the table in the temple, that was an act against religious domination, an act of human liberation. Yes. Now, let's identify a little bit just for you to have, understand the gap what anarchism is not. What anarchism is not is what anarchism is not. It is not throwing stones. It is not burning buildings. It's not rejecting all forms of organizations nor wanting collapse, because that's Hollywood's version. The real anarchism looks like communities sharing resources, decision making hierarchy. Okay? I mean, decision making without hierarchy. Relationships built on respect and not power. Individuals taking responsibility instead of obeying out of fear. Because why would you do that? Structures based on consent instead of coercion. This all sounds impossible in our society right now. Anarchism is not a theory of chaos, okay? It is a vision of undominated life, even though it sounds so impossible right now because we are literally being ruled wherever we go. Well, for society, what is anarchism for society? Okay, it forces us to ask, why do few people hold most of the property? Why do governments claim authority over bodies and choices, over my body and my choice? Why do relationships mirror control instead of partnership? And why are power structures built to benefit the top at the expense of the bottom? Okay, anarchism in society challenges patriarchy, capitalism, a rigid government, an exploitative labor, and an abusive relationship. And by questioning hierarchy, society becomes more humane, more cooperative, more empathetic, and that is what we want. I like that. Anarchism strengthens society by awakening domination. Yes. Now, let's think about it individually. Why anarchism matters to individual. On a personal level, anarchism is spiritual itself. Okay, it says your own life, your own choices. My life, my choice. My body, my choice. You own your own mind. No one gets to dominate your own existence. That's why I resonate with anarchism a little bit, because I live the life of stepping away from emotional domination, from societal pressure, from fear based relationship because there's no way, and from powers that harms. Every time I choose honesty instead of manipulation, and every time I walk away from people who want control, and every time I choose gentleness over fear, I am living the heart of anarchism. I do not rule, and I will not be ruled. So, when you hear the word anarchism, do not imagine a collapse. What you can imagine is liberation. Imagine a world where power isn't vertical but shared, where property doesn't nominate bodies, where religion doesn't dominate our mind. It shouldn't be. And where government doesn't dominate life, where relationships are not built on control but on respect. Imagine a world where each person is trusted with their own existence. That is anarchism. Not chaos, but dignity. It is not destruction, it is a possibility. No rulers, simply humans.